Hello. So I just wanted to summarize this brief series that I'm doing about gentrification, and where I was leading up to in the last video that had went out is that so I think that we as people we need support, and we need constant figures in our life, and I think that has always existed in the in nature, but in a cool way. And that's when it's the really inspirational things, and the things that really make you amount to something. I've referenced some of these figures in my life in different videos, and they have been cool people, or at least cool to me in settings, in venues when it impacted me, and that and so what I meant to say is, like, when I was referencing my career as supporting and transporting young students, is that I became incrementally stronger each year. The first year, I appreciated just caring for and compassion for young people, being with my special needs students. The second year, I became competent operating the physical vehicle of the school bus, and I actually received recognition from safety teams based on the vehicle data that rivaled, if not surpassed, all the veterans at a particular base, having been upstart CDL driver. But then in that first year, I struggled greatly with around student management. Even that's an ugly word. I shouldn't have just said that. But just being cool around the students, it wasn't just right there for me right away, and I had to disabuse myself of some of my notions of what I thought it meant to lead people at all, but especially children. And then but then the next year, it was a little bit more of that, and more like cutting my teeth around, like, operating a school bus, but also leading children. But then, no, I'm sorry. That was the first year was like that. But then the second year, I made quite big strides in having banter and having pull with the students. And then this last year, it really blossomed for me to where I'm a lot more dynamic, entertaining, and just simply fun with the students, while also educating them and enlightening them as in what humble way I can, as I find opportunities. When we're around young people who look up to us, there will always be opportunities to inspire them and to help them grow, because that's just a function of nature and who we are. But you can recognize these opportunities and be smoother with them as you become more comfortable with who you are, which is the only standpoint to lead children or anyone, is to be comfortable with who you are, and therefore cool. If you're not being cool and having cool stuff to say around about young people or anyone you're leading, then you really are not in a standpoint to have any kind of beneficial outcome for them or yourself. And even students can run you right out of a place if you're not coming the right way, as any situation or venue will bounce you if you're not being right there, or not right, but if you're not being cool, you can get bounced out of anywhere. So I meant to say is that we gotta be cool with one another, and that's in our families, that's in our anywhere in life. That's the only way to win with people, and to have an outcome, because I'm a school bus driver, but I need the cooperation of those students as much as they need my safety and my oversight and my driving skills. And so we're not going to get there unless we're being cool with each other and being fun and stuff like that. So that's what a lot of I was going with this video, and just saying that paternalism is that we've all experienced the brunt of paternalism, and we probably extended it to a lesser degree because we can't help to. That's all we know. But I want to say that's a lot of what the problem is. And so I guess, just to sum up this series, I had said that I keep refining it a little bit closer and closer. And then I had said that, like, a lot of capitalism, adventurism, industrialism, feudalism can be reduced to gentrification. But I think that even gentrification itself can be further reduced to disenfranchisement. That is having advantage and a success outside of propriety, and with a distinct, but yet also arbitrary advantage over another person. So that can be nepotism, that can be racism, that can be classism, that can be all different forms of disempowering and disenfranchising another person based on arbitrary terms. Disenfranchisement being gentrification. But then the functioning of disenfranchisement, I would say largely it centers around entitlement, like actual recognized titles, or maybe recognized titles, de facto titles, and then attitudes and statements that emanate from an actual identity of privilege, being entitlement, and then therefore disempowering in a very big detriment and antithetical to the spirit and essence of life that we experience on different degrees, and that we probably betray on different degrees against other people, despite our best statements, judgment, and scholarship, so forth. But I just meant to say that the functioning of titles and entitlement is deeply detrimental on all levels of society, not the least of which, perhaps the primary of which, being the very nuclear family, where it's really impacting people at the most formative stages possible. And then some of the aftermath of the damage that's done in the nuclear family based on the sense of entitlement in understanding of relationships with a feudal overtone and feudal implications, even in the modern time, that amounts to the different pains, sufferings, and lost opportunities existing in the home. And as we are first finding our way into independence and majority, to yet further exist within other venues of a similar nature, with similar paternalism, and yet be further disenfranchised with and experience entitlement and titles in these other venues that we are ejected into on a false footing based on the entitlement and feudal understanding of human relationships that we had first encountered in the home. That's a lot of what I was trying to say. And then so you have so it really amounts to disenfranchising human beings based on a sense of title and or entitlement is what the problem is. And so I just wanted to just shed a little light on that as like a way to grow. But like I just wanted to share testimony because like I've been having some young students today that I was transporting, and we were having just really cool experiences where they were actually getting to be themselves, have fun, but they're also learning, because every once in a while I would either like challenge them, joke with them, but in such a way as to educate them and enlighten them and respect them, all the while being cool. And one of the kids even called me cool a couple of times. Both a little boy and a little girl called me cool, and they meant it. And it's actually the last thing I want to say is that I've been doing different stuff like adding content and like even doing music stuff, and I've been showing pretty much all the people in my life. But the only person who really called it out, like this young student, he said, he wasn't like talking directly to me, like he was talking to another student. But then on another hand, because I had played a instrumental guitar music around them, and then he was like, "You're talented. You're so talented. Like, how do you teach us all this stuff? You're so talented." But it's funny that the only person who gave me flowers is like a very young person, and we think that young people are so naive and they need our better judgment and whatnot. But they're way more colder and more perceptive than we would ever give them credit for. If you actually give them enough respect or space to be themselves, you'll see what they actually perceive and are aware of, not the least of which the best in us. And so this child actually appreciably thought that I was talented. So I wanted to say that sometimes the only people talk about real this and real that, but sometimes it's the least likely people you would think who are actually real enough to say something real about you or in front of you, that not the last of which being an actual child, like the ones that I take care of. But I just wanted to shout that out. And then but just say that, it's about learning, it's about inspiring one another, it's about caring for one another, but in a cool way. That's all I'm saying.